You want my body and you think I'm saying.
I'm your host, Susan Wells, and on today's segment, we're going to be talking about selling your children. Now, I don't literally mean selling your children. Could you imagine? Alright everybody, auction time, auction time. We'll start the bidding at $500. $500, blonde hair, blue eyes, 4 years old and in perfectly good health. What do you say?
Hey, baby.
We're selling little children?
Susan?
Yeah, that'd be bad. Anyways, no, I'm talking about selling your children to a good book. Mothers, how many times do you walk in your kids' room and you see them on the computer, on the video games, on the cell phones, and you're like, hey, get off. Well, mothers, here's a great way to do it. By getting them interested in a good book. Specifically speaking, Huckleberry Finn. An adventurous, wonderful book with a great moral. Here to talk with us about that book today is Mr. Mark Twain. Yes, mothers, he's still alive. Here's a newscast from earlier this week. Something you're not going to believe. The renowned Bigfoot may have been found today by a family camping out on Jackson's Island in the Mississippi River. After a lovely afternoon picnic, a little girl pointed out a strange, hairy-looking man. The mother called police in a panic, stating that they saw Bigfoot on the island. Police sent investigators where they found a man hiding in a cavern. That man claimed to be the famous author Mark Twain. Investigators took him in and are still questioning and testing to see if he really is the famous Samuel Roland Clemens. Isn't that just crazy? Well, mothers, we have a treat for you today. Because here in our studio live is Mr. Mark Twain. And here he is. Why, Mr. Twain, it's a pleasure to meet ya. And you look so young.
Thank you. Drop it. It's him!
What's going on? Well, apparently that Mr. Twain was an imposter. Mr. Twain was unable to make it to our studio today, but fortunately we got him through satellite. Thank goodness. Wow, Mr. Twain, it's a pleasure to be speaking with you today. Yep, my pleasure. So first off, the question on everyone's mind, why on earth did you go into hiding and where did you hide? Well, you see, after my wife died and daughter, I just was so depressed. And then these guys came over and they're like, hey Twain, he's an abolitionist with his book Huckleberry Finn, let's go kill him. And I was like, oh no. So then the next day, I was busy making a fake dummy of me. And then the day after that, my buddy Steven, he came over to my house and I was like, oh no, I'm having a heart attack. And I fell on the floor and he's like, oh no. So he runs and gets the doctor, and then I run away. And I get in my canoe, and then Stephen and his buddy, the doctor, they come back, and Stephen's like, he died from a heart attack, and the doctor's like, okay. So they buried me, and I ran off to Jackson's Island.
So, Mr. Twain, you kind of foreshadowed your own death by stating the following. I came with Halley's Comet in 1835. It is coming again this year, and I expect to go with it. Now, did you do that on purpose to kind of give people a hint that you were going to go into hiding?
Well, you know, Halley's Comet, I was like, hey, I was born under that. And so I was like, maybe I should die under it too. And it came around, and I just didn't feel like I was going to die that night. So I was like, I'll make myself die. And so I was like, well, I'll just make myself die and run away. And, you know, that's what I did. So I kind of foreshadowed it, but not really on purpose, you know. I was just genius by accident right there, you know. Yeah.
So, where did you live on the island, and how did you keep yourself from being discovered?
Well, after I got in my canoe, I paddled and I paddled and I paddled until I got to Jackson's Island, and then I set up a camp and I hid in the caverns and hid there, and I couldn't let anybody see my smoke or they'd know I was here, you know? And that's where I hid, the little caves everywhere.
So, after you went into hiding, did you have any contact whatsoever with the civilized world?
Well, you see, every 10 years or so, I'd dress up like a girl and go into town in the daylight and see how the times changed and what the technology was like. I love the technology, you know.
So, Mr. Twain, if I'm understanding you correctly, you went to town in the middle of the day?
Well, you see, all I had to do was put a dress on, and they didn't know I was a man because once you get past 70, you can't tell the difference between genders anyway. And one time I go into town, and this lady, she takes me in her house, and they have these TVs and technology now, and so she gave me a cup of coffee, and she's like, you poor old woman. And I was like, oh, yes. And I was sitting there watching TV, and this guy's going off about how bacon is bad for you. And I was like, to the lady, I was like, whatever, bacon. I eat bacon all the time. I wake up in the morning, and I smoke a pot of tobacco, and then I have a plate full of bacon. And for lunch, I have a bacon sandwich. And I usually drink my dinner. And I was like, and I'm living past 75 now. And she's like, oh my goodness. And I was like, yeah. And then so I go, and I was like, bacon is so good. And I was like, stop.
Sorry, Mr. Twain, but you're kind of getting off topic, and we're running out of time here. So, in what ways did you portray your stand on things during that time period through Huck and other major characters in the book, and just the whole moral of the book in general?
Well, basically, I based the book Huckleberry Finn on how my life wanted to be. I wanted to go live in the wild and be free like Huckleberry Finn. That's what I did. And I would run around naked on that island like there was no tomorrow. It was great. And then I wanted to help slaves run away to their freedom. So I wrote about that. And I pointed fingers at the people who like slavery, because I wanted to point out that slavery was bad and that they're people too. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for your time, Mr. Twain. Now, is there any other comments that you have on your book before we close?
Well,
Yeah, but you see, when I was little, me and my friend Steven, we grew up together and we would go out and play pirates on the islands and have fun and be like Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn and
All right, thank you for your time, Mr. Twain. That was a treat for all of us to be speaking with you today. Well, mothers, wasn't that just the most fascinating interview you have ever had with Mark Twain? Probably the only interview, but hey, he's a genius and he wrote a good book called Huckleberry Finn. If you don't have this, you haven't read it, mothers, go buy it. Get off the TV right now. What are you watching me for? Go buy this book at your nearest bookstore, get your kids off the TV and the video games, and pick it up. It's a great book. Now, mothers, it's time for us to close. Thank you for spending your afternoon with me. Go home and you make that dinner up all nice and good. Nice home-cooked meal for your kids. Go pick your kids up from the bus stop or whatever you busy mothers have to do today. Thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Susan Wells, and this is Mothers of New York!
Another butter bootleg on pjbutter.com.
Run around naked on that island and feel stop.
Whatever you busy mothers have to do today. Thank you for joining. Oh gosh. See you next time on This next story is something you're not going to believe. The renowned Bigfoot may have been found today by a family camping out on Jackson's Island in the Mississippi River. After a lovely afternoon picnic, a little girl pointed out a strange, hairy-looking man. In a panic, oh gosh. Ah!
That don't kill me, can only make me stronger. I need you to hurry up now, 'cause I can't wait much longer. I know I got to be right now, 'cause I can't get much stronger. Man, I've been waiting all night now. That's how long I've been on ya. I need you right now. I need you right now. Let's get lost tonight. You could be my black Kate Moss tonight. Play secretary on the boss tonight. And you don't give a f what they all say, right? Awesome, the Christian and Christian Dior. Damn, they don't make them like this anymore. I ask, 'cause I'm not sure. Do anybody make real anymore? Bow in the presence of greatness. 'Cause right now that has forsaken us. You should be honored by my lateness, that I would even show up to this fake shit. So though I can't tell who made this new gospel, homie, take 6 and take this. Haters, that don't kill me, can make me stronger. I need you to hurry up now, 'cause I can't wait much longer. I know I got to be right now, 'cause I can't get much stronger. Man, I've been waiting all night now. That's how long I've been on ya.